Welcome to the Coffee Corner Show. I'm your host, Paul Mirador, and today we're going to talk about PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And as you may know, we had a recent shooting here in the Thousand Oaks, California, committed by a Marine. And because this Marine, former Marine, had a symptoms of PTSD. And we have our special guest today, Mark Villamac Ho, and he's going to talk to us about how to identify a person who has PTSD, what we can do for him, and how to identify the symptoms and where to go for help. And we're back. This is Paul Mirador with my special guest, Mark Villamac Ho. Mark is AKA Bagyo. He's a Philippine rap artist and also a former Marine. We wanted to talk about Mark about PTSD. What do you think when PTSD was mentioned? What comes into your mind? What do you think PTSD means to you?
PTSD, which it's post-traumatic stress disorder, is basically a clinical kind of diagnosis for a veteran or anyone suffering from any kind of situation that may be like critical, as far as like you can get PTSD from a car accident, from handling, being around something traumatic basically that may affect you later on. And yeah, I am a veteran. I went to Iraq back in 2003 during the invasion. So my main job was crash fire rescue, which is aircraft rescue firefighter. So I did a lot of emergency operations. And, some of those things that I got connected with as far as my PTSD. So when you get labeled PTSD and veterans, unfortunately there's a big label on that. They automatically think, from the person's perspective or the civilian perspective, like, well, you gotta watch out for this Marine, There's a lot of people with PTSD around normally that are functioning perfectly fine, and some of the things that cause it maybe, or the factors that remain after you get PTSD may be like anxiety, sleep disorder, anger management, stuff like that. A lot of mental health issues. And
so those are the symptoms of
yes.
Somebody suffering from PTSD.
Yeah.
Now, also just to mention that PTSD could happen to anyone. They didn't have to be a veteran or in the military. But it could be a
car
accident or family-related issues.
Yeah.
That people can also suffer from
Yeah.
PTSD. That's why it's called post-traumatic stress disorder. It didn't say anything about for military only.
Yes.
Right? So it's not just for military. So keep in mind there are people out there walking around. Didn't have to go to a military or didn't have to serve and go abroad to suffer PTSD. They could be suffering here in their home state.
Yep.
So, what do you think as far as people? The symptoms again. You mentioned that
anger, irritability, anxiety, maybe basically those are the main ones right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sleeping problems, stuff like that. So those are the issues that I had: anxiety and sleeping problems, and irritability. Always being on the alert.
Mm-hmm.
Since my job in the Marine Corps was, being ready for action right away. Saving lives. So.
Most of the people that suffer from PTSD are former military.
Yeah.
Simply because that whatever happens in Afghanistan, Iraq, and anywhere else. It's very traumatic. They see bloodshed every day, and they see people suffering from pain and losing an arm or a leg, right?
Yeah, but it's definitely something that you could overcome. It's definitely something you can get a hold of. I know. I just had shout out to all my veterans. It's Happy Veterans Day, by the way.
By the way, exactly. Happy Veterans Day to the veterans out there. And we're just thankful that Mark is able to come and share his perspective about PTSD here in the show on a Veterans Day. So thank you.
Yeah, it's an honor. We had the Marine Corps birthday a couple days ago too, November 10th, 1775, 243 years.
Right. Yeah.
So rough. And but yeah, this kind of overshadowed this whole situation. Unfortunately, it was a Marine that was involved in this tragedy. So there's different factors to it. There's different, as far as Marines, there's different people and service members. There's different opinions. Some of my Marines are kind of like, they've suffered from PTSD. I know Marines personally that have, that have multiple tours under the belt, lost, 13 of their friends, or have Purple Hearts, been shot at, and they are not. Don't confuse PTSD as like automatic time bomb, like you're gonna go off and just do what this guy did. Unfortunately, this whole situation with I forget his rank, but Ian, yeah, it's an unfortunate situation that he did that. But there's people that are productive with PTSD. I myself, I'm rated with PTSD. I got PTSD. Same time I'm fighting.
Are you suffering from PTSD now?
Yes.
So
still rated
and you're also
I'm
the
also
middle of
fighting cancer.
Cancer. So
two cancers, multiple myeloma and nasopharyngeal carcinoma. They're fatal. They're not fatal, but unless you don't fight them, they could be fatal.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff on my plate, and yeah, it's really the person as far as how they were. Like maybe they're saying this guy Ian had problems even prior to his military service. So
and you were reading up on that, and what you said that Ian had some sort of an anger issue that was supposedly been reported a long time ago before this incident happened.
Yeah, unfortunately, with one of his teachers, as he's going to college and everything, he had a kind of issue, but it wasn't reported. And now she's coming up. Certain things like that probably need to be reported. So some of the signs that we had mentioned earlier was, you got to.
If you see something, do something. If you report it, call it in, right?
Yeah, and as veterans I used to work for the Vet Center, which is an amazing source. Just shout out to everybody or some knowledge. There's vet centers. There's over 320 vet centers nationwide.
Right.
And what we do at the vet center, or what I used to do at the vet center, was we provide readjustment counseling for combat veterans. And if they need help as far as veterans in general, they can give us a call. But the main thing is we do readjustment counseling for combat veterans and their family members, helping out with PTSD, anger management, marriage counseling, substance use counseling, all types of counseling. It's all free for the veteran, and there's actually a call number they can call 24/7.
Right, but also there's not to interrupt you, but there's also a scholarship. I mean, there's also scholarship, free education, and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I know a couple of veterans that they wanted to continue their education, and the VA paid for it.
Yeah.
But also when we come back, I'm going to talk more about. I'm going to ask Mark here where can they go to get some help, and what sorts of resources are available to get these help and assistance. But also I wanted to read something that I found on the Facebook, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to Mark about the resources available to military and veterans. Now this post is a few days ago. It says, it's time to go public with this. 2 weeks ago today, I walked into an ER because if I didn't, I was going to kill myself. I was stripped off of all my clothes and possessions, given disposable scrubs, and put in a room for the next 5 hours. In the U.S., this cost nearly $3,000. I was then placed in a behavioral health ward until Sunday at noon. 3 nights, 2.5 days later, because it was a weekend, all therapy was scaled back, both in a number of sessions and the quality of sessions. During one, we simply played a trivia game. I sat around watching TV all day and chatting with a Vietnam vet in the U.S. This cost nearly $10,000. During this day, I had blood drawn twice. That was another $3,800. Not shown are the physician charges, that brings in my grand total to $18,000. I saw an MD once and had once daily session with a psychiatrist. Those sessions consisted of rating my depression on scale of 1 to 10 and asking if I want to hurt myself or anyone else. Real stellar care. Oh, I almost forgot to point out that $145 for 3 days worth of meds. I normally pay less than $50 for the entire month. My employer-sponsored insurance does not cover inpatient mental health care in any capacity. I do have a supplemental insurance plan that will hopefully cover $6,000, leaving me on the hook for $12,000. And now you know why people don't seek help, and this is why. And there is a picture here and a picture of the statement, of the billing statement. Patient stay for 2 beds, $9,954. Pharmacy, $145. That's basically your meds. Lab and chemistry, $3,451. Lab and hematology, $398. Emergency room, $2,956. Now, when reading this and talking to Bagyo or Mark, basically the person who posted this and Mark, you said that this person went to the wrong resource because they went to their employer's health insurance carrier.
Yes.
And that's why it says here, it doesn't have VA health. It says their hospital health care, right? So that's why all these charges are being brought up, is because they went to their insurance, they went to their employer insurance, health insurance. If you have gone to a VA resources, this all would have been free, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit
Now,
more about what this person should have done and where this person should have gone to. And, there are free resources out there for VA, and you don't have to go directly to your health insurance carrier. And Mark, before you answer that question, we'll be right back, and to have more question and answer session with Mark here. So until then, stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back. And Mark, can you tell us about what you think this person should have done?
Well, just looking at the overview, it does look like it was they did go to their job.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I mean,
Their employer's
sometimes
health
it works that
insurance.
way, with other people going through it. Yeah,
Right.
employers' health insurance. But there's a lot of benefits out here, especially that us veterans don't know about. Especially when we get out of the military, we're very gung ho about getting our life together, getting a job, going to school, and sometimes we don't look at the benefits. Like me, I had to learn all the benefits myself. Luckily, I was approached by veterans. I didn't know nothing about the vet center, even though now it's getting more integrated as far as our resources when you're separating from the military service. They used to call it SEPs and TAPs, which is separations, transition,
Mhm.
and but maybe a little more information would be the key to this. So the vet center or the VA in general provide these type of services. I went through them myself. So as I mentioned earlier, vet center, you can find it at vet center www.vetcenter.va.gov. What we do at the vet center is we provide readjustment counseling for combat veterans and their family members, helping out with anger management, marriage counseling, substance use counseling, all types of counseling. It's all free and all confidential. So maybe that's one of the things she could have, used. It looks like they didn't use that, unfortunately. And you could usually get information on that by going to that website I mentioned earlier, or talking to your local VSO or your VA hospital. So some of those things, like even your stay in bed, your pharmacy, there's going to be certain tiers of it, but you're not going to have to pay that much.
And Mark knows this because he had worked for the VA himself. So,
yes, you have to from the vet center.
So he had worked for the vet center, and he knows the in and outs of
the system.
where to go, the system basically.
Yeah, and also some of the things that I will point out is the lack of knowledge is the main thing. A lot of people don't know about these services.
Right.
As I worked for the vet center, I used to drive this vehicle called the mobile vet center. Even people in the VA didn't know exactly what the vet center did. So it's a lack of knowledge. spread the word out is the main key. Spread the word out, helping the veterans out, because it's there for you.
Now, if you're a vet and you're watching this show, what number, or aside from the website there, what number can they call in if there's any?
Any kind of
for,
questions?
for any information, like, I need help with this. Where do I go?
Yeah, so there's a number, actually, it's easy to remember, 1-877-WAR-VETS. That's 1-877-WAR-VETS. It's a 24-hour hotline. They can call for anything, basically. There's combat veterans on the line, and it could be anything as far as, I'll read a little brief about it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is their statement on
By the way,
website.
it's 877 WAR VETS, VETS.
Yep.
Okay.
And the telephone number is 877-927-8387. That's 1-877-927-8387. War Vets.
Okay.
And it says on their statement, it says Vet Center Call Center. Around the clock confidential call center where combat veterans and their family members can call to talk about their military experience or any other issue they are facing in their readjustment to civilian life. The staff is comprised of combat veterans from several eras, as well as family members of combat veterans. This benefit is prepaid through the veteran service.
So there you go. So like Mark was saying, most of this stuff is free. I mean, completely free, actually. And
even
all you
if
got to
you're
know is where to go and who to call.
Even if you're not a combat veteran, if you serve, give them a call. They're there to help to calm you down if something's going on, or give you information also. And same thing with the vet centers. You go in there. Maybe there are things, we help combat veterans, of course. But they're, as far as mental health services, we're not going to turn a veteran down. We help homeless veterans. We help homeless veterans that walk in that never served in combat. Just come on in. It's there for you. We're there for you. The phone line's always open. Even when you call when you look up online, if you have access, you call the vet center after hours. It'll forward to that number. So it's there for you.
Now let's go back to what you said about the homeless part. You said that they didn't have to be they didn't have to have served, or
yeah, they have to have, for the most part they serve, but the vet centers, like different locations, they give out food and stuff like that. They do handouts. They are involved in a lot of community events where they can go to these homeless stand downs. Like I used to do the homeless stand down over there at the downtown, the Midnight Mission. I used to go over there frequently with the mobile vet center. I'm sure they're still doing it. There's a lot of resources that you can get.
There's a lot of homeless too. They're veteran homeless,
yeah, unfortunately.
Right? Why do you think they did not assimilate, or they didn't get back into their lives?
Yeah, a lot of these veterans that you see homeless are older veterans. Fortunately, a lot of them didn't get the homecoming that they deserved when they came around. It's only been recently where they recognize some of the veterans, as far as like the Agent Orange for Vietnam veterans, getting them benefits and stuff like that. They came back to a society that called them baby killers. That basically kind of rejected them a little bit.
Right.
And coming back from a combat combat zone to that type of society, it messes you up. It definitely messes you up mentally.
Would you say it's a lot more easier now to assimilate back into the society than 10 years ago?
Yes, definitely is. 10 years ago is when I actually, about 10 years when I got out. And even then, at that time period, it was fairly easy. I don't know if the system's getting better. A lot of the combat veterans that I know are getting help too also. So it's getting better throughout the years, definitely. But back in the 60s or the late 60s when they came back from Vietnam, it was pretty rough for those veterans that came back. They were actually the ones that started the Vet Center. So the Vet Center was established in 1979 by Vietnam veterans.
Right.
So it's because of their service and their service in country that veterans like me are luckily getting services.
And because of the need, they know that, hey, we need some sort of a center to take care of our vets.
Yeah.
Now, aside from the medical part of it, what other resources, like a scholarship that I mentioned earlier, if the vets want to come back and reassimilate themselves and want to look for a career or start a new career or start a business or start a job, and they need training and so on with that. What can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so most of the veterans that when they get out of the military, they probably signed up for something called the MGI Bill. It used to be the older MGI Bill, but now it's the post 9/11 MGI Bill. That benefit is 36 months of veteran benefits. You actually could go to school and they'll pay for your tuition and you'll get BAH for going to school. Like myself, if I were to go to school and I just recently got out and I have the post 9/11 GI Bill, I can go to like a school like Los Angeles, get BAH for maybe 1800 to like 22,000. I don't know exact numbers. They'll pay me that monthly while they're paying my tuition to go to school.
Right.
And they'll do that for 36
itself,
months.
right
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
I mean, geez, you're getting paid to go to school.
Yeah, exactly. It could be you get paid more than some full-time jobs, or so.
Right. And as a realtor, the VA also gets get his home certificate. I mean, they get a VA bill that they can use to purchase a house for a down payment.
Let me go back to a little bit too of the education portion.
Right.
Of it.
Okay. So go ahead.
So we got the post 9/11 MGI Bill, right? Another benefit too for veterans with a service-connected disability.
Mhm.
That means they got maybe in the
Missing limb.
yeah, missing limb, even like a hurt shoulder or some kind of disability that affects your life. A service rating.
Mhm.
If they got a service rating, they could use something called voc rehab,
Mhm.
which is vocational rehabilitation. Now, as long as this the school they decide to go on doesn't aggravate that injury more, the VA will pay for your education to go find another job. So
Right.
yeah, like say if I wanted to go and be a computer technician, I couldn't. My shoulder may be hurting, but they'll pay for me to go to school to
Right.
get a degree in that. So it's rehabilitating. So that's another benefit that you can go to. And once again, just www.va.gov. That's victoralpha.gov.
So there's a lot of resources available out there for the veterans that can help themselves and assimilate back into the society.
Yeah, and there's actually something that I found too online that there was a recent article, LA Times article that was on just a couple days ago on November 8th. In the wake of Thousand Oaks shooting, it's too easy for vets to get help, to go without it. It's there are benefits out there. They just got to be open to it, and I understand. Like when you're in the zone, sometimes you're suffering from certain things, and you may not have help, but there's always help for you out there. That's the main thing that you got to remember. There's always someone out there trying to help you. Well, you might miss 1 day, you might miss 2 days, 3 days. Go, keep on going, keep on trying to get help.
Right, exactly, and never give up. I mean, you know it. You should be able to reach out to another former Marine, and all you guys who just show up, make the call, and get some help. And help will be there for you.
Yeah.
Every resource is available for the veterans.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, we wanted to thank Mark for coming to the show and talking about PTSD and for the veterans who are out there that need some help. And we're going to be posting some numbers and websites on this show so that you guys can see it and where to go and who to call and ask for. This is definitely have to be, I'm glad that we did this because there's a lot of resources out there that most vets don't know about. And if you're one of them, please try to get some help.
Yeah, make sure you call, like I said, call one of the vet centers local wide. You can look at the website, www.vetcenter.va.gov, and also that number, 1-877-WAR-VETS. Give us a call. There's someone on the line there to help you out if you got any questions.
Yeah.
And before, I wanted to give a thank you for Filipino Worker Center for
allowing
us to
do our interview session here. Thank you for Filipino Worker Center. Again, this is one of the centers to help Filipino Americans in looking for a job and doing their events here.
Yeah, if they have any work-related kind of issues, give us a call. Yeah, and it's a big, it's right here located in the historic Filipino town.
In Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles. So
right. So on Glendale Boulevard.
153 Glendale Boulevard.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
153 Glendale Boulevard, Los Angeles.
There you
California.
go. So check out these resources also available to Filipino Americans, not only to Filipino Americans, but if you have a problem with your with labor and you're looking for work or have a complaint or anything else, just come on down here. And if you need additional training, workshops, those kind of things, also available here.
Yep.
So at this point, we wanted to thank again Mark for coming to the show, and thank you for watching our show. If you like these type of segments, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And most importantly, we catalog. We have a list of videos that we have on our website. So if you can't look us up on YouTube, you can also find us on the internet. It's thecoffeecornershow.com. So until then, we wanted to see you again, and thank you for watching our show. Bye for now. Take care.